It's day 207 of this honeydew germination experiment. So as you can see, the flower has finally opened. I kind of prodded it with a floss stick before, thinking it wouldn't open, trying to just shove some male pollen in there. And lo and behold, the very next day it opened. You can finally see some reproductive structures coming out in there. At first there was nothing but hollow space all the way to the pre-melon, so I was really worried about that. I did all of these pollination attempts before I went to work that day. It was overcast. It's very hard to hold a camera with one hand and use this camera brush, air duster, bulb thingy on all the flowers with the other hand. So I just went around to all the male flowers. I don't even really know if that does anything. I would think that some air directed into the flower in a shielded environment like that would pick up some male pollen, and right here I'm pumping into the female flower. So I tried again for good measure after I repeated that whole process, and I went back to the floss stick and tried getting some pollen from all the male flowers in the rotation and going back to this female flower and poking it. I bought some Miracle-Gro Bloom Booster flower food. It has a much higher phosphorus content than nitrogen. It's normally flipped. So it's this blue crystalline powder, and there's a scoop with it. You put it in water, it becomes like that. Water tray at the bottom was full, so I decided to just wet the soil at the top and not use all of it. I figure future waterings will get it down there. Later on I thought of using cotton swabs as an additional implement for pollination by hand. So I just kind of stick it in there, swirl it around, bring it to the female flower. It's kind of hard to see. You need to do a lot of rubbing to get it yellow. Okay, it's day 209 of this honeydew germination experiment. I just wanted to note the thickness of vine number 1 compared to vine number 2, vine number 3. They have a hierarchy in thickness. So vine number 1 has signs of growth at these ghost nodes coming on right off the pot. Along the wall we have some signs of growth as well, but I don't know if these things are actually going to get activated. So I had a fun time trying to pollinate this thing. This was the only female flower, but at the same time, I think it's gotten bigger, this pre-melon, so to speak. I hope I actually did my job and pollinated this thing. It's kind of interesting how it has a funnel of leaves developing around it. It has that one leaf there and another one right behind it. And you'll notice the thickness of this original vine is much, much thicker than this offshoot. But this offshoot is now the most productive, and it has very green leaves that are getting bigger. I think these are still diseased, as is that one and maybe even that one. These are the newer ones. So yeah, that it was only open for like 2 days, and there were no male flowers as of yesterday, so I basically tried my best the day before that to pollinate. But these leaves are looking pretty healthy, so you can kind of see that thing moving away. That's an adult spider mite, so I might have to spray more insecticides. Shoot apical meristem of this offshoot of vine 1 seems very healthy. There's a flower now that there wasn't the day before. I hope these fertilizers are kicking in. There's kind of a kink there, probably caused by all my restructuring when I hit the reset button, but I hope that doesn't break. I hope it gets tougher. But with regards to this melon development, the vine has been thicker all along here and thick up to here, but when you get to like here, it's at its thinnest, which is kind of worrisome. So I hope that gets thicker. But it might take a while for whatever hormone gradients are being generated by this female flower to reach there and make it thicker like a cable. For vine 2, there's more vegetative growth. It's a great sign. We're doing great over there. And there's been a male flower, which I tried to use to pollinate that female flower. So that just goes in tangles like that. There's not that much noteworthy think whatever remaining spider mites are probably trying to migrate, but there's 2 male flowers there. So for vine 3, there's not all that much special either. I mean, this leaf just provides friction, and same with that to keep it on the wall without blowing over. But that's going to have a rough time because it just didn't have as much reserves to reset with. Day 212. The leaves flanking this female melon that I hopefully pollinated are getting bigger as we speak. The stem that was leading to it, or petiole, whatever you call it, was elongating. And I think these leaves could be the ones to feed this melon directly and as closely as possible. Hopefully that's the reason for their being. This offshoot of vine number 1 is now the more promising of the 2 vines that come from that fork before this rides over the balcony. So I'm going to put it up here so it can get full sun. And note how green and healthy looking these leaves are. I had to spray more beta-cyfluthrin from Bayer Advanced to kill those spider mites. And that was 48 hours ago. So I checked all the leaves and the spider mites stopped moving. Vine number 2 here. It's grown a little bit over the edge, but these leaves look very healthy as well. I think the fertilizer is kicking in and promoting a lot of vegetative growth. This is vine 3. It's also doing the same thing.